What is up, Ravens Flock? Huge shout out for your support for the 410 Sports Talk. Chance and Glenn are the best in the business. Make sure you go subscribe to their channel. Let's go Ravens. Big trust.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of 410 Sports Talk. James Haskell, along with my co-host Glenn Martin, and we're here to review the first portion of what are now mandatory activities with the Baltimore Ravens mandatory minicamp as things move closer and closer to training camp and to preseason and things like that. Things start to heat up. So we got a lot to talk about when it comes to our Baltimore Ravens. We'll give you our takes on some of the news, some of the developments, and then, you know, a little bit of insight based on some of our sources we got, and then our own thoughts. But without moving on any further, if you're new to the channel, we talk all things Ravens, a lot of other NFL headlines as well, but it's generally all things Ravens. So go ahead, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you turn on notifications and give us a like as always, and leave your comments below. We like to interact with you guys as much as possible. Additionally, Glenn could potentially be miming a lot of this show today. So just make sure you catch up on your sign language, right, Glenn?
Yeah, not feeling my best right now, but here nonetheless. You know, had to
here
still
for you
get out
guys.
Here. Yeah, just full disclosure, the Big C finally caught up with your boy. I duck, dip, dive, and dodged the Big C for what, 3 years? I can't remember how long it's been going on, but that son of a gun found me, and he's whipping my ass right now. So that's probably why I sound a little different and probably look a little bit, worse for the wear. But I'm here nonetheless. I'm still excited, still checking out all this stuff that's coming out of Ravens minicamp, and
right.
Excited to see it. I mean, there's obviously some issues that we're going to get into, but more positive than negative certainly came out of camp. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. And the spot I want to start is actually what happened right before camp.
Yeah.
It's funny, like a few weeks ago, a picture on Twitter was circulating with Ravens defensive end Derek Wolfe carrying a 300-pound bear on his back. And it kind of raised some eyebrows, but it also got some people excited, thinking, well, if he's carrying a 300-pound bear on his back, he must be ready to play some football. I mean, you wouldn't carry a bear that size out of the woods on your back unless you're feeling pretty good. Turns out a few days ago, he did undergo his second hip surgery of the year. So I'm just confused, Jimbo. I mean, I don't understand how you're good enough to do, you feel good enough to do something like that, but yet you're getting hip surgery. So I don't know if there was another injury after that or what exactly happened, but it's Derek Wolfe is not going to be helping the Ravens this year, right, Jimbo?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, honestly, I don't know if that caused the injury or anything like that, but I think the Ravens were on grounds to file some sort of a grievance.
100%.
Based on some of obviously the image didn't help Derek Wolfe. But then, like you said, then they came to an injury settlement. I'll be interested if we ever get the details of that settlement, because I don't think, I know the Ravens try and be fair, but I'm sure that this was not a settlement that was one of those sweetheart things where the Ravens were like, look, you're our guy. Like when Andrew Luck retired, didn't he get paid that full year, or say like paid him out or whatever? Nothing like that.
No.
This will not be the scenario with Derek Wolfe. And I don't know if he's just retired or done or what his situation is. But we hope for a speedy recovery nonetheless. And like he said, a normal life. But Derek, just as a PSA, a normal life for normal humans usually doesn't include having a 300-pound bear on your back. No. So, if you're looking to do that, maybe, expound a little bit on normal life, because that's not something that either Glenn and I are doing anytime soon.
I couldn't put Jimmy on my back right now. That's for damn sure.
If I had you like that on my back, your legs would be hitting the ground.
I'd be standing.
You'd just be dragging your legs across the ground.
But you know what though, Jimbo? This really makes me thankful that they went and got Brent Urban, because
100%.
He's gonna be much needed now.
And this could also mean, don't you think, that this is something that has been in the works? Maybe Derek Wolfe just lost some money.
Well, I still think the way the Ravens, I feel like they were kind of caught off guard by some of this.
Fair enough.
and that they're pissed off about it would be my guess because of how John responded to it. He was very short, very to the point, and
that usually means John is not happy.
He's a little perturbed. Yeah, he's a little perturbed. And so right now, Over the Cap has it as a $1.8 million dead cap number for Derek Wolfe. So yeah, it's disappointing because he kind of took the Ravens, a little bit for a ride. But if that's what's best for him and his health moving forward, I guess all we can do is be happy for him. And let's move on to the guys who are still on the team. And of course, the biggest thing was the return of Lamar Jackson at camp. Actually, Marlon Humphrey broke the news for him being in the building. Because I guess he was tired of seeing social media riddled with when is Lamar, going to make it back to the castle. So he broke it. But man, he looks big, man. He looks big and he looks strong.
Yeah, it looks big and looks strong. And I don't think, big as in like sloppy big. I think big as in like he's been in the gym big, right? Like if any of you guys haven't noticed. Yeah, I mean, if any of you guys haven't noticed, he looks nothing like he did last year when he came into camp where, he put up the guns last year, but I think people were more referencing the fact last year he had a little pudge around the middle, he had a little bit like Mark Andrews' rookie year. A little bit like Mark Andrews' rookie year. But no, Lamar looks in shape. And I know some people are critical of him, is he too big? Is he, did he put on muscle in the wrong way? Is this going to slow him down or whatever? I think the thing to remember, and I said this a week ago or 2 weeks ago, can't remember now. The fact is Lamar was in the gym all off season. He wasn't taking video instead of videos of him in Target and videos of him at home with like his cereal boxes. We saw videos of him in the gym. I'm not saying those other things are bad by any stretch of the imagination, right? But my point is that this is not Lamar's favorite thing to do. So I think that this is a great sign that he's working hard and wants that contract, and he's doing the best that he can to get himself in shape and to avoid hits and injury and stuff like that. So I think that, it's not a perfect path. Maybe he will continue to hone in on his training and figure himself out. Yeah. It took Tom Brady forever to do that, right? So it takes time, and I'm just happy to see the dedication. But the biggest thing I heard, Glenn, was that the whip on the ball was something real. That there was a traumatic difference between how much spin he could put on that thing, how much heat he can put behind it, and then also the tightness of his spiral. So that's exciting to hear, right?
Yeah, Mark Andrews mentioned that there's definitely some additional zip on the ball, but did say, he still had his back. He said, look, Lamar's always had an arm, but it definitely appears. I mean, anytime you're building strength, including your arm strength, then, you'd think there'd be a little more zip on the ball. So let me go over some of the numbers for him in his first practice on Tuesday. Let's see. Lamar Jackson went on for 11 on 11 drills. He went 17 of 26, including 2 interceptions, both of which were made by Tony Jefferson, the vet, the old head in the room. The first of which.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say the first of which was a pass to Josh Oliver, who appeared to pull up on the route over the middle, and Jefferson was there to grab the pass. And on the second one, Jefferson stepped in front of an intermediate route by Rashad Bateman, who otherwise had a really nice day. But that particular play, Jefferson had the best of him and got the interception. This is all courtesy, by the way, of Jonas Schaefer's Twitter, as well as a bunch of other sources, Jeff Zubik, Shara Ellison, a bunch of other people. So I just wanted to give credit where it's due there. But yeah, so, and then on 7-on-7, he went 10 for 10. So that was nice to see. Apparently the tight ends really shined offensively, and the safeties shined defensively.
Now this was Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen, much different news today. Yeah. But the other thing I want to mention is that, I think it's interesting. Tony Jefferson, if you watch any of the videos where they're coming out the tunnel, Tony Jefferson is a guy with personality. Like he's always, he's not been shy of the camera and stuff like that. Tony looks very serious to me. And I think feels a little disrespected by the fact that people are lumping him in the group of guys that like are special teams guys and that are roster fringe guys. And that might be his actual role right now based on the depth of the secondary. But that's not where Tony sees himself, where other guys might see themselves as that for their career, right? Like Tony's had more success than that. And so I think he expects more out of himself. I'm saying this real early, but I'm not saying he's going to do anything crazy, but don't be surprised if Tony Jefferson has a real, bounce back type season. This is, if I'm not mistaken, the second season now back after the injury. And so don't be surprised if he really starts to tune it up and we see more of the old Tony Jefferson come back and he is more contributor than we anticipated, because even at the end of the season last year, I'm forgetting which game it was, but he had like 2 or 3 huge plays in that game, whether they were tackles, and then I think one was a
late.
deflection.
It was late in the season, yeah.
Yeah, when we were just toast in the secondary.
Yep.
So all I'm saying is keep your eyes on Tony Jefferson as a more surprising contributor than some people might be anticipating. And in regards to that, I know that we're going to talk about Lamar, but Coach also mentioned that Kyle Hamilton looks like a rookie. Like a smart rookie, but he looks like a rookie. What's your takeaway? To me, it's just that he's got a lot to learn, guys. Like he's, it's not a plug and play scenario where, he's still got a learning curve, right?
Oh, no doubt. I mean, I think the big thing for John is he never seems to want to heap too much praise on rookies because he wants them to keep chasing perfection, which he wants everyone to chase perfection. That's what he said every day is chasing perfection, that and you'll never achieve it, but you always chase it. But the big thing is that he said is when he knows what he's doing, he plays extremely fast. But when he doesn't know what he's doing, he doesn't. So, and that's with any rookie. So, this is still very early on in his football career. I think he's got a long way to go, but man, everything I've heard, I know that coach doesn't want to heap too much praise. Everything I've heard from the media members who've been able to be in attendance there, the guy's been incredibly impressive in any role that they decide to put him in. I mean, they put him in a lot of different situations, whether it's, the back end up by the line of scrimmage, the one-on-ones he's been showing out against the tight ends. I think that this guy is going to make a lot of plays for the Ravens this year. And I love the fact that the thing we hear most about him is his smarts, because everything else, we already know about his height, weight, speed. We know about all this stuff. But if you're not smart, it don't matter. I mean, we see tons of guys who are super fast, super big, super strong. I mean, they talked about this is who Taylor Mays was supposed to be. If nobody ever knows who Taylor Mays was, go back and look him up, man. He was height, weight, speed. He had it all. But he may not have had the play smarts and the play instincts that maybe Kyle Hamilton does have. So oftentimes it's the smarts is most important, not necessarily your physical attributes, because all these guys at this level are going to be physically very gifted.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm interested to see how he continues to shine and to grow and to make steps in front of our own eyes. But I do want to get back to Lamar. Yeah. And if you'll allow me to, Glenn, I know we were talking about Tuesday, but I want to take some time to talk about today.
Yep.
If that's all right with you, because very different notes coming out of camp today in regards to Lamar Jackson and the offense in general. Sounds like they struggled, had some issues. At one point, Lamar was so frustrated he punted the ball. And so I'll just give you some headlines here. Let's see. So the defense came up with a couple interceptions. Dalen Hayes had a fake rush and they dropped back into coverage, picked Lamar off. And then Pepe Williams, who we've heard a lot about, had a nice interception. So, and then like I said, Lamar ended up punting the ball. And really the rough part seemed to be in the second half of practice. They had a few false starts and they were, trying to push the ball down the field. And then of course, eventually Lamar got frustrated, but really I'm going to be the old man on the front porch here, Glenn. Okay.
Okay.
And it's not that I wholeheartedly believe this, ladies and gentlemen, so don't destroy me here. But can't you see the old man, right? Like I can imagine my grandfather saying, I told you he should have been at voluntary. This wouldn't be happening. If he was at voluntary workouts, he would have ironed some of these things out already, and he wasn't there. This is the value of it, right? Like what's your opinion on that take? Because I know a lot of people have that. So I'm not saying I embody that 100%, but I think that that's a valid point that people will bring up when they hear about this news.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, I guess had he been in OTAs, he may have been better at this practice You know, he may have been, because it's like John said, a lot of times what they do at OTAs is really just prepare you for mini camp and training camp.
Timing is everything, right?
Teach you how to practice. Yeah, they just get you prepared. So he may have been a little bit better in these practices, but let's hope that the work he was doing away from OTAs will make him better throughout the regular season and hopefully the playoffs when it matters the most. Yeah, I'm okay with him, you know, having a Dalen Hayes interception and a Pepe interception in mini camp. You know, I'm fine with that, because what I like to hear, or what I like to see, is that guys try things in these situations. You know, see what you can get away with, see what you can do. Now, I don't love hearing he's punting the ball, because that means he was really frustrated with himself, or frustrated with a teammate, or whatever the case may be. I'd rather him just be okay with having an interception. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather him just be like, that's why we're here. You know, I don't love the punting. I get that he's competitive. Look, I'm a competitor too. I'd probably punt the ball, Jimbo. I mean, you know me. I'd probably punt the damn ball. But I expect more from Lamar, because, you know, he's the head of the franchise. So I would have liked to have him just say, good play, let's move on. That's why we're here. But, you know, you also love the competitive nature. But so I get why those people would say that, but it's such a small thing. And overall, he still had a pretty good day.
Yeah.
When you look at the
wasn't
numbers.
all bad.
No, I mean, he had, let's see, on 11 on 11, he went 19 of 23 on 11 on 11 drills. So,
right.
I mean, that's still pretty damn good.
Yeah, apparently he had a really nice pass to Mark Andrews and then another one to Rashad Bateman. So there's certainly a lot of newsworthy stuff in the positive for Lamar Jackson. But yeah, man, you know, I do. You're right. That's a great way to frame it. Like, yeah, he might have been better at this practice, but in the long, you know, in the long term, right? Like, would it have actually moved the needle? I don't know, right? Like, and that's hard to quantify. Like, how do you put that? You know, how do you measure that? Oh, he missed OTAs, so he was a hair off on this pass in week 15.
Right. Yeah. That
like, how do you connect?
That's
those
an awful
two?
stretch,
you know what
right
I mean?
there.
Right. Yeah. So, but anyway, I also think it's hard to silence those folks that are like, you know, maybe it would look different, right?
Yeah. There's nothing you could say to silence them. But I want to talk about some of the no-shows.
Yeah.
And some of which, first of all, they had a hell of a turnout. Everyone who was supposed to be there, except for one, was there. The ones who were not participating on the field were injured and recovering from those and rehabbing from those injuries.
Geez.
But the one person who wasn't there is Michael Pierce, who the Ravens just paid pretty handsomely to come back to Baltimore. Now, Coach was asked about it, and he said it was a personal issue that he's not going to talk about. And so it could be a serious issue, so I'm not going to, like, goof on the guy.
Speculate or anything like that.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. But I will say I hope that he, you know, I guess he's really not going to have an opportunity. If he may miss all of this mini camp, and then we're not going to see him till training camp. So let's hope that when training camp comes around, that he's in, you know, playing shape, or at least close to it, and training camp can get him there, because you know, we now need him more than ever with the Derek Wolfe news. We can't afford to have another guy kind of disappoint us on that defensive line like Derek Wolfe did. So let's just hope that whatever personal issue that he's got to, you know, get straightened out and get ironed out, that he does so, and that he's back when training camp comes around. Because I was disappointed to hear he didn't make it.
Yeah, me too. Do you think that if it were a conditioning thing, John would have said so and not framed it that way? That's really my question, right? Like, because if it's a personal issue, respect privacy and, like, hope for nothing but the best for you and your family and whatever else it is. And who knows, maybe it's something, I don't know, maybe a family member is getting married, right? Like, maybe, you know what I mean? Like, it could be something as simple as that. I think so. If your brother's getting married, like,
okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I would.
Depends on how many married. If it's his first one, okay.
If
it's take two.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, no, but I mean, you know, it could be something like that, right? It could be something harmless, and we'll hopefully, just because people are missing for personal reasons doesn't always mean it's negative. It's
now, let me ask you this: if you found out Lamar Jackson missed this mini camp because he was going to his brother's wedding,
It's your brother's wedding, dude. That's yeah. I'm not missing my brother's wedding for anything. I tell you what, like the only thing I missed my brother's wedding for, because Nathan got married in February of 2021 at like the peak of COVID.
Yeah.
And my wife was pregnant. But like I literally was going to drive to his wedding in Utah, sleep in my car, and drive home. Like I wasn't gonna go anywhere. Like I think it's important to be there for your family. So
yeah, okay.
With all that
just
said,
making sure. What do you think the media would say if they found out Lamar Jackson missed minicamp for a wedding?
I think that they would get it. You think so?
Dude, people get criticized for missing games when their kids are being born, bro.
I've never heard anyone get criticized. Have you?
Oh, really? I've heard it. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You've never heard someone get
criticize someone for your kid being born. And in fact, that's
like it's his third kid.
No, like Joe Flacco, he was there for the Browns game, right? Like he wasn't even there or whatever. I'm like, Joe, it's a Browns game, dude. Like go be there with the birth of your kid, Joe. Like, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about all that. All I'm saying is that so really what it comes down to for me with Pierce is, so I'll ask you the question. Do you think that if it was weight related, like it has been in the past, John would have said so? Or do you think
I think he would have been more critical. Yeah.
Yeah. So it gives us hope to think that, because he was 390 plus at one point.
He's a big boy. He's a big boy.
And he's not 6 foot, Glenn. I don't care what anyone says. He's not 6 foot. I mean, I've seen him in person. No, he's hardly taller than me. I know that sounds crazy, but he's maybe 5'10".
Yeah.
Like, dude is not tall.
Yeah. Wow.
So to be, 390 plus at it can be concerning. So I hope it's just something that they're celebrating as a family. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. We'll hope for that. And also not there today, was there on Tuesday, your boy, quarterback, Tyler Huntley, missed today after playing yesterday. So I guess we'll kind of wait and see what comes out, what's going on with Tyler, but definitely need as many arms out there as possible. Don't want to exhaust anyone, but this is mini camp, not training camp. So
right. Maybe he just needed a day. He was there for all voluntary stuff and then kind of rolled into this. Maybe he just needed a day.
Yeah. Could very well be that case. But yeah, so I want to talk a little bit about, man, Dalen Hayes keeps making plays, Jim.
Yeah, man. Dalen Hayes making plays. Look at you, dude. Just rhyming.
Dude, totally unintentional. But now he's making interceptions. The guy was already standing out as a pass rusher over the OTA periods, but now he's even showing some skills dropping into coverage, fake the blitz, and then drops into coverage, picks off Lamar Jackson. If this guy can turn out to be someone that they can count on early in the season, it would be a game changer for the Ravens front. I mean, they right now, first of all, I saw Ajabo trying on his jersey with Odafe Owe hyping him up, and I got goosebumps. He was so hyped for his boy, and he had no boot on his leg, nothing. So Ajabo might be out there a little bit quicker than some people are predicting, but Dalen Hayes is going to be someone they're going to look to early on in the season.
Yep.
And it's really nice to see that he's making plays, not just in the backfield, but also dropping into coverage when we're not sure when Bowser's going to be back. And that's kind of the guy that we count on in that area. So if Dalen can be versatile and kind of be the Bowser, what Bowser was for us these last couple of years, that would be huge, man. Give you some sprinkling, some pass rush, get you some coverage on at least in the flats and some underneath stuff. I mean, he could end up being a really important cog on this defense.
Yeah, I think the thing to remember about Dalen Hayes for everybody is that you remember before he went down with injury, preseason, stuff like that, he was not saying that he's better than, but he was certainly more polished than Odafe Owe coming out. He's an older guy, older player, has played football longer. He's certainly more of a finished product. With that being said, we also assumed that he was closer to his ceiling, right, coming out of college and things like that. He exhausted his, if I'm not mistaken, eligibility in college where
fifth year, I believe.
Yeah, Odafe didn't do that and things like that. And Odafe obviously is a younger football player in general. So you're absolutely right in two things. One, it's reasonable for us to have hopes and a little bit of expectations that he can come out and have an impact early, because while he didn't play at all last year, soaking things up mentally is a big deal. And the fact that he was already much more ahead in his technique than Odafe at that point, right? So I think between the three of them, between Odafe, Ajabo, and him, while obviously Ajabo and Odafe are the superior athletes and the bigger names and things like that, it's not unfair or unrealistic to say that, like you said, early on, he can have, a similar impact. Maybe it manifests itself in different ways, but yeah, expectations should be relatively high for this guy. I think he can come in as long as he stays healthy and contribute, and early, like you said.
Yeah, I'm super hyped for him because they need all the pass rush help they can get. Now,
and I really quickly want to say something about Ajabo.
Oh, yeah.
I was just at a conference, and one of the guys that I work with is one of the biggest Michigan fans. And look, when I talk to sports people, it's really easy to tell if you're a fan or if you're actually a fan, like if you know your stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I spent maybe 30 minutes talking to an inebriated guy at an event trying to convince me while spitting on me that Kirk Cousins was better than Lamar Jackson. So, right. I mean, you get your football card taken away instantly when you say something ridiculous like that. But this guy, different guy than the Kirk Cousins guy, explained to me how he believes that Ajabo is better than his counterpart coming out of Michigan. What was the kid's name? I can't even. Aiden Hutchinson. Yeah, Aiden Hutchinson. And he thinks that Ajabo had so much to do with Hutchinson's success that he has more faith in Ajabo in the NFL than Aiden. Now, I don't know if that's a stretch or not, but either way, like, hey, I'm okay with hearing that somebody would even think that, right? So he thinks he's a better athlete.
If he paid attention, yeah.
He thinks he's a better athlete, more explosive, needs to work on his technique, but as far as athletic stealing, he's just a better athlete, period.
Oh, well, he certainly seems to be the quicker and faster. Not the bigger, because Hutchinson's a little bit bigger. But
he's a monster.
Yeah, he's a monster. But yeah, hey, that's encouraging to hear.
Now,
now on the offensive side of the ball, Bateman caught a 65-yard touchdown from Lamar Jackson. And
hey, Marquise, take that.
That's right. We don't need your deep speed. We still got some here. But also showing out today, of course, Mark Andrews. I mean, every practice he looks great, so that hasn't changed. James Prochet also very active during practice. And then undrafted rookie free agent wide receiver Devon Williams also made some plays offensively today. So a lot of good pass catching notes coming out of camp today, and excited to hear them. I want to continue to see Rashad Bateman stay on the field. I know he had a cramp that forced him out for a little bit, but he came right back out. And thank goodness, because we cannot afford to lose any time on the practice field with Bateman and Lamar Jackson continuing to build the chemistry, because we all know there's going to be two guys that are going to get the lion's share of the targets. It's just how it's been here in Baltimore since Lamar's been here. It's going to be Bateman, it's going to be Mark Andrews, and then it's going to be everyone else. So they got to continue to build, and the only way to do that is staying on the field.
Can we just like make it a team? We'll just make a big bucket. I'll come out there with a big a big old cauldron of like banana smoothie. Like, what is it? Like, guys, just get your potassium in. You know what I mean? Like, but I'm happy.
But it was hot out there today, man. It was hot, dude. Humid and hot in Baltimore. Yeah.
Glenn, if I can get 30 miles in with no cramps, they can get through a practice.
That's true.
With no
That's
cramp.
a good point.
At 25.
And you're much older than them, by the way.
Yeah, so he can get through a few hours. I was 6 hours in. So
yeah, that's true. That's true.
So anyway, point being that I'm glad it was just a cramp. But I want to talk about the video that I saw of the wide receivers, Lamar throwing to them. And I focus on, this is funny. I don't know if this is just me, the things I focus on. I focus on the dig, like how fast they can stop and turn around for the ball. I focus on the plant foot, like when they cut on a slant route and things like that. And I tell you what, a lot of these guys look good. You can certainly see the younger guys from the older guys, but man, James Prochet has nice feet. Like he has good feet. The other one I was pleasantly surprised with. I know it's simple. There's no defense or anything like that. But one guy that's been criticized for his lack of ability to run routes has been Devin Duvernay, right? Like maybe he's limited in his route tree capability while he's super explosive as a football player. He looked much more polished to me. Once again, small sample size, but it looked good. Rashad looks super fluid. He always does. But I was really happy to see, man, Devin stopped on a dime on a few of them. And that's everything, because everyone talks about speed being your ability to create separation, but your ability to stop also
under control.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Can create just as much separation. Honestly, if you look at the touchdown to Cooper Kupp in the Super Bowl against Eli Apple, it was his ability to stop. The ball was right on the back shoulder. It had nothing to do with his overall explosion. right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited about these guys, man. I think this unit is going to turn some heads. Maybe I'm too bullish, but I think we got some guys.
Well, I think that you'll know in this next month or so before training camp, if the Ravens remain inactive in the pass catching department, that means they loved what they saw at minicamp. And so I'm hopeful and I'd be encouraged to see them not go after anyone, not try and swing a trade or grab an old vet that gets a late cut or, right prior to training camp cut, because that means they're a little more desperate. But if they remain inactive, that means, hey, we like our guys. As old Buck Showalter used to say, I like our guys. And so I'm with you. I want to see these guys. Look, they went out and got Jimbo. They went out and got the best private wide receiver coach in the freaking country and said, he's our guy now. He's going to be with this team all the time. This is why they did it. They did it to take all this investment that they put in this receiver room with draft picks and turn it into something that they show on the field. So yeah, let's hope Keith Williams continues to work his magic, and let's see what these young guys got, because we're going to need them, Jimbo, because everyone's saying that this is the worst receiving core in the league. And I think they're going to turn some heads and surprise some people.
Yeah. And there's other people that run this train. This is not a one-person train, or won't be surprised a lot of people. I'm going in right now. Two things. I kind of noted, or I kind of hinted on this maybe a month ago back. I think Devin really does scale back his special teams duties. And I think that he ends up solidifying himself as our number 2 receiver. And I'm really interested to see the type of work that this kid gets this year, because I think it's a volume thing for Devin, right? Like he would be a volume shooter. Like, just give the kid chances with the ball in his hands, create opportunities where he gets the ball quickly and not 1-2 times a game. Like, let's do this early and often because one. Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? And set the tone and get physical with the DBs. And like you said, if he can pop one, dude, you turn a 5-yard pass into a 55-yard touchdown. I mean, if someone's going to do it on our team, it's going to be Devin Duvernay. So I'm really looking forward to watching him in camp and in preseason. Man, I'm excited about this kid and his ability to like you said, make a play with the ball in his hands. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, I don't necessarily agree with him scaling back his return ability because of who John is. And John always wanting to have the best guy on the field, and there's no doubt that he's our best return guy. But I do think an expanded role in offense has been a long time coming, and so I'm excited to see what he does with that expanded role. So, let's see what we got in the receiving room. Now, defensively in the cornerback room, we also saw a face that we hadn't seen in a long, long time, Jimbo, and we certainly hadn't seen him on the damn field in a long, long time. Iman Marshall is practicing, ladies and gentlemen. Yes,
it's real.
Marshall, and I'm not going to call him Biggie until he does something. He's out there, and just to prove it, Jeff Zrebick of The Athletic sent out a picture just to prove it, because nobody believed him when he said he was out there. So excited to see that at least if you're gonna if you're gonna lose out to a battle of the cornerback position, at least do so with your feet on the field, not do so with your ass on the training table. So I like to see that he's at least able to compete. And if he, let the best man, let the best men win the job. And if he's not that guy, then, it's time to move on. But I'm glad to see he's at least out there competing with his teammates. That way he can know for sure whether he was, good enough or just bad luck,
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be really interesting to see how that whole thing turns out, because he's buried in the depth chart at this
Pepe
point.
Is coaches are falling in love with Pepe.
Yeah. No, I mean, I am. I am. I love the kid's swag. His swagger is awesome. And I like that it just, a lot of times, not all the time, a lot of times somebody's personality is manifested in their game. Now, there's a ton of quiet dudes that, like Steve Smith, I've heard is like one of the nicest humans off the field.
Steve Smith Sr.?
Yeah, like to other people.
Sure he's a nice guy, but he's just ready to punch somebody in the mouth. So
right, but like just hearing him, the way that he treats his kids and like, the way that he is as a dad, like he's relatively tender as a person. I mean, on the football field, he hates everyone, like literally hates everyone. Right. But with all that being said,
like Troy Polamalu, just the most mild mannered. You would never know it that he's gonna murder you.
Yeah, same thing with Haloti. Like Halodi's the same. Like you hear Haloti talking, he's just the nicest dude, and he'll absolutely ramrod you, like
exactly
destroy you. But all that being said, one of the things I think that's cool about Pepe is I feel like his game coincides with his personality. He seems adventurous. He seems willing to take risks. Seems aggressive. And it's funny how in sports like football and in a lot of sports, usually the aggressor ends up winning a lot of, the one that doesn't hesitate. And he doesn't seem to be very hesitant. So as long as he doesn't get fooled, then he should be all right. But I'm excited, man, to see what this kid does. Obviously, the secondary, he's not the first name we talk about, but it'll be really interesting.
No, he's going to have a role. I mean, Chris Hewitt said he's not the biggest, he's not the fastest, but he's got one of the biggest hearts on this team, and he will make our team better. So he's going to have a role, and he just seems like a guy that the coaches love with his enthusiastic play style and all that. He just seems like a guy I would love to coach. But also in the back end of the defense, it doesn't sound like the Ravens are too comfortable with a rookie wearing the green dot. When asked about Kyle Hamilton doing so, it didn't sound like they were too thrilled or too comfortable with it. But he did leave the door open, and said it's a slim chance. So he didn't say zero chance, Chris Hewitt, but he did say it's a slim chance that Kyle Hamilton will wear the green dot as a rookie.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting to see how it plays out because we've talked about this rotation, but that means that if it's Chuck on the field every play or like, you know what I mean?
Because, how do they do it? Do they give it to Pat Queen?
Yeah, so maybe it ends up being Chuck and Marcus back there a lot more, and maybe Kyle finds his way in. You know what I mean? He's the one.
Here's my thing, Jimbo. What's the negative? What's the reason the league won't give everyone a green dot so everyone can hear the play? Why do they have to give it to one guy and let him relay it? I don't understand it.
That's a really good question that I've never considered.
I don't I don't understand. Give everyone on defense a green dot. Why not? I don't understand it. But there's maybe a good reason that I'm just not bright enough.
Maybe it just makes it more fun, like the strategy part of it, right? Like it's just another component to the game where the fans can make noise and contribute. And
because even in baseball, they got rid of the signals. The catcher no longer throws down hand signals. It's earpiece.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know. I just think technology has come to the point where I think everyone could get a speaker.
But then, like, what do you get rid of huddles? You know what I mean? Because you ever heard you'll hear the coach saying this long string of weird words to make a play, and then he'll say, "Hey, tell what's his name this, and tell what's his name this." So you also got to bark out all these orders. All that's gone. You know what I mean? Even the huddle in general is kind of like bleh.
Yeah.
So it would change the game significantly.
Yeah. I think it would make it. I don't know. I don't know really the too many negatives other than it's just different.
Yeah. Well, we don't like change around here too much.
No, we absolutely do not. But there is one more day still of camp. Tomorrow is the final day, I believe, right?
And we will be live, ladies and gentlemen. Well, assuming that Glenn is still alive and okay.
Oh my goodness!
Right, like as long as
he ain't taking me out, bro.
No, but as long as the voice is okay.
Yeah,
but
we'll see
no pressure, of course. Barring health, like we say about these players.
And if you do believe in a higher power, want to throw a good word in for your boy, I'm not gonna be mad at you. I'm not gonna be mad at you if you say a couple words for me.
That's
help
right.
me out. And the family, by the way, not just me. Help me out and the fam.
Yeah, we're only worried about Camden.
This is a house full of sick people right now, all quarantined, staring at each other. So yeah, I'll take a couple kind words from anyone I can get them from now. But yeah, so it's one more day of camp, right? And then we're talking about a month off where we just please no one get in trouble. Nobody get hurt. All that stuff. Nobody getting in trouble and nobody getting hurt is really the two things that we don't want to hear coming out of this next month here.
Absolutely. And so tomorrow, let's biggest thing, guys, whatever the news may be tomorrow, let's hope that everyone leaves healthy.
Yes,
Rashad doesn't aggravate what was a cramp that turns into something else, because you know how the Ravens can be with their injury reports, and and things like that. Let's just hope that we all get away. Maybe John pulls an Andy Reid and says, screw it, let's go get ice cream. I don't know. Right? Like,
well, he did take him to Dave and Buster's a
right.
week ago.
Right. So yeah, whatever ends up being, I'm assuming that tomorrow's going to be light.
Yes, 100%.
So yeah, I mean, we're excited about it. I think there's a few things to take away from here. Excited that Lamar's back. Can't wait till camp. I think there's a couple undercover names in camp to look out for. Like we talked about Devin, and I personally mentioned Tony Jefferson, but certainly there's others. Coach mentioned Broderick Washington.
Oh yeah, yeah. And look, we're gonna do camp battle videos.
Oh yeah,
in camp where we're gonna break down every camp battle because there's gonna be a ton of them.
And of course, as everything gets closer, we'll do our final 53 and things like that. So make sure you stay tuned. We're just getting started here. This is where things really ramp up. But we're looking forward to it. Make sure you leave all your comments below. Give us all your thoughts. And we'll talk to you guys soon.
See you.